Hello and welcome back to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy content here on youtube.com. My name is Dan and today I'm going to be sharing with you some predictions for the most popular players in FPL from the last season. So as you may be aware, FPL official Twitter account has been releasing some player prices. Three of which I've already covered in a previous video. I think I did okay with those predictions. These ones I'm going to do a little bit better because I think I have a little bit better idea. So hopefully the Twitter account doesn't tweet out the correct answers for what I'm going to provide for you today. But we'll see. I think I can get most of them right. I think I'm going to do all right this one. Fairly confident. So in this video, I'm going to be doing the 10 most popular players from last season, what I think their price is going to be this season, excluding any of the most expensive players, which obviously I've covered in a previous video. Before I get into that, I do want to very quickly say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It has been an amazing journey on YouTube so far on the FPL YouTube sphere. I'm absolutely loving it. I really hope you can continue that support because it is just amazing. So thank you for that, guys. And yeah, without further ado, let's move on to some of these top 10 most popular player prices, excluding the expensive guys. So we're going to start off with number 10. Now, the 10th most popular player, excluding the expensive guys, was Marcus Rashford at 18.1% ownership. He started off last season at 8.5. He's going to finish off at he finished off at 8.9 in 1920. So I think the prediction should be about 9 for Rashford. He is going to move from a forward to a midfielder, or so I'm predicting. So I think that is going to justify a slight value increase because he is a really good player and can provide a little bit more points from midfield just because his goals are worth a point extra. When he gets assists, he gets more bonus points. So I think that's going to be really, really beneficial for Rashford if he is moved into a midfield position on FPL. So I am predicting a slight price increase. And it's going to be, I think that's going to be worthwhile. And I think if this is true and Rashford turns out a 9 million player in midfield, got to be worth considering. Number 9 at 18.1 ownership as well, although slightly more people owning him, but same percentage, is Robertson. Now, last year started off at 7, finished off at 7, but I do think because of the shift towards defenders getting you more points, particularly those Liverpool fullbacks, I think Robertson has got to have a minor price increase to 7.5. I think that's only right, really, just because of what he provides. He's not that far behind Trent AlexanderArnold, who we're all predicting a monster score from. So yeah, I say Robertson stays pretty stable, goes up 0.5. Easy peasy. If you want to get him in your team, you don't want to push the budget for Trent AlexanderArnold, you can go in for Robertson, a slightly cheaper, but offering almost the same kind of return. So that's what I think is going to happen there. Aaron Wamba, 18.9% ownership at the end of last season. Started off 5.5, ended up 5.5, but I do think he could potentially creep up to 6. Manchester United massively improved defensively. I don't even think they were ever particularly bad defensively, but they were looking a real force towards the end of last season. So I do think their defenders are going to be a little bit more premium than they have been in previous seasons. And out of all of their defenders, you would say that Wan-Bissaka is the most premium of their defenders. So as such, a little bit of a price increase to 6 million is probably about right for a top team, a fullback, the most premium defensive asset. You'd say 6 is pretty reasonable indeed, especially if you consider someone like De Gea is probably going to be like 5.5. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka obviously offers a lot more than De Gea, so 6 million, it's about right. Number 7, 23.1% ownership at the end of last season, and FPL official Twitter account has already released this price as 5.5 million. And you're not going to believe me, I know you're not going to believe me, but I had all of these prices and predictions written down before all of these tweets came out today. And I'd already written down 5.5 million for the predicted. Maybe you believe me, maybe you don't, but I'm counting that myself as 1 out of 10 right, personally. But yeah, he started last season at 4.5, offering amazing value. He finished off at 5.2, which is probably much better reflected where he should be. 5.5 for the top scoring goalkeeper from the previous season. I think that is right. Usually you'd see the most premium goalkeepers, so the goalkeepers from the top teams, they are usually the ones priced the highest. But you can't really argue with the fact that because Pope scored the most, his performances were so good, making saves, getting all the bonus points. Pope was such a good asset, so he does have to have his price reflected in that. At 5.5, I think I might be tempted to avoid Pope, just because that is quite a lot of value tied up in a goalkeeper. And if there's better 5 million, not better, but similarly abilitied goalkeepers at sort of 4.5. I think you can do a lot worse than downgrading Pope to a 4.5 and a 5 million goalkeeper if there is someone who is pretty decent in that position. It's a low scoring position after all. Number 6 at 26.9% ownership at the end was Greenwood. Of course, at the start of the season, everyone owned Greenwood because he was so cheap, and we just put him on the bench. We thought, oh, there's a bit of hype around the guy. Never really expected to be playing him. He crept up to 4.8 million by the end. I do think he creeped up as high as 4.9, which is even more amazing considering he went as low as 4.3 last season, when everyone was selling him, when we thought, oh well, he's in our team just to sit on the bench. Actually, we want to upgrade that to a better striker, and then we'll realise later on in the season, oh wait, Greenwood was that better striker the whole time when he actually started playing. So 4.5 start, 4.8 finish, 7.5 predicted. I do think he just has to be priced highly, and whether or not that's good value is going to depend on the Sancho deal, basically. If Sancho goes to Manchester United, that's going to challenge Greenwood for his position at right wing. If Sancho doesn't arrive, Greenwood is going to be playing, surely. So 7.5 million is about right for him, a young player, not really fully established yet. And if he's a midfielder as well at 7.5 million, he's another one of those players who I would say put straight in your team. No Sancho deal. Greenwood midfielder at 7.5 million. You put him straight in your team because what a player he is. So clinical. The stats don't really do him justice just because he's so clinical at finishing with both feet. And yeah, he's just such an amazing young talent, and I would be absolutely delighted to have him in my fantasy team next season. Number 5, a bit of an interesting one, 28.8% ownership at the end, is John Lundstrom. Of course, a defender out of position. He's going to be a midfielder this season. Started off at 4 million, super cheap, bottom of the line cheap. Ended up at 4.6 million. But he did go as high as 5.2. That was before Sheffield United signed Sander Berger. When he came in, everyone sort of hopped off the Lundstrom train. But you know what? I am a little bit worried. I'm going to predict 6 million. It could be 5.5 million, to be fair. But I have a feeling that FPL are going to overprice Lundstrom, put him in midfield, just because all of the hype surrounding him over the course of the season. He became like a key member of, just when you think back to the season of 2019-20, you can think, yeah, the John Lundstrom season. So he does have that FPL royalty status, and I think his price might reflect that, and he'll be overpriced at 6. Even at 5.5, I wouldn't go near him. I think maybe at 4.5 million, I know that's really harsh, but that is the only way I would consider bringing Lundstrom in, because when he is in position in midfield, he's not sort of got the same pedigree as some of the other midfielders that we have on offer. As a defender, brilliant, fantastic, bring him in. And I have a sneaking suspicion he won't stay a defender for this season. But yeah, I think 5.5. I've put 6 down. Let's say 6. I'm going to commit to that. Why not? But yeah, Lundstrom 6 million midfielder, absolute avoid for me. Number 4 at 29.5% ownership at the end of last season is Raul Jimenez. Started off at 7.5, ended up at 8. I think 8 is gonna be about right for him going into next season. He has proven once again that he's a really valuable striker, and I don't think there's going to be too many striker options next season. So Jimenez at 8 is going to be about right. He's going to be slightly cheaper than the premium guys, but he's going to be on that second bracket of still really valuable strikers to have. I think I wouldn't necessarily go straight in for Jimenez at 8 million, but you have that option there. And similarly, third place, 31.4% ownership at the end of the season, Danny Ings. Started off at 6, had an insane rise of price to 7.6. I think that might be the biggest price increase of any player across FPL last season. So again, 8 million for a striker who is really performing well. I'd be more tempted by Ings than I would Jimenez, assuming they're the same price. And I think they will be about the same price. But because he's playing in a team slightly lower down the table, you can't put him at the super high prices that you might think that Danny Ings is capable of scoring these super high goals in a season. He's shifted the idea that he's injury prone. 8 million, I think, is about right, and a fairly good price for him as well. So yeah, that could be really interesting, seeing how many people go for Danny Ings. I don't think quite as many people go for him at that price, but I don't think that's too bad for him. Number 2 is Trent AlexanderArnold. One of the players you're probably most interested about in what price he's going to be, and I'm sure official FPL will release his price on Twitter soon. just because there's so much hype around Alexander-Arnold. Now, I think he's going to be 8 million. I think that is record-breaking. I don't think any other defender has ever been that high. Perhaps Leighton Baines, Vidic, I think they clocked in about 8 million in seasons gone by a long time ago. But Trent started at 7 million, finished at 7.7. The thing is about Trent Alexander-Arnold is because he provides so much more than what a usual defender provides, he has to be a super high price. 8 million I don't think is a super high price, and I still think at 8 million you bring him in, but he's not going to be a 10 million because it's not just about how much he costs, it's about how much he costs compared to another defender. So does Trent Alexander-Arnold offer more than a 6 million defender? Yes, but by how much? By 2 million? I would say yes, but if you're saying he's like a 10 million player, does Trent offer 4 million more value as a defender than another 6 million defender? Absolutely not. So 8 is probably about right, potentially 8.5 at a stretch, but anything beyond 9 is just silly pricing, and I don't think it should happen personally. That's my personal opinion, and I'm sure some of you guys might feel slightly differently about that just because you see his high points total, but you've got to compare him to another defender. How much more value do they offer compared to another defender? So that's sort of the way I'm seeing it. And finally, number 1, the most boring of my list, but the most popular player on the whole game, aside from your KDB, is Virgil van Dijk. 6.5 start, 6.5 finish. Very stable across last season. He never really moved. He never really moved his price at all, but he only got 3 points less than Robertson. So in that sense, you've got to think, well, he's worth about the same as Robertson. You would say a little bit less just because he is a central defender rather than one of these attacking fullbacks. So 7 million is about right, just to sort of control his value, his ownership a little bit, because you don't really want a situation in FPL where a player's ownership they're so good for their money that their ownership is super high. We don't want that. We want a nice balance of different teams and stuff. So 7 million, slight price increase reflected in the amount of points that he got in the season. So I think he might have been the 3rd high scoring defender, maybe 4th, maybe I've got it slightly wrong. But yeah, super valuable, and I think he's got to go in at 7 million. So those are my predictions. Now, whether you believe me or not on the Pope thing, I have, in my mind, got one right already. So, and we'll probably see throughout the day on FPL Twitter, maybe another one of these prices will be revealed, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong. Hopefully I can get this video out before any of these players are revealed, their prices. So yeah, let's see what happens there, and let's see how many I can get right. Hopefully I can get a few right, so that'll be fun indeed. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. As I say, if you want to subscribe, please do. I'm really hoping for a big season on YouTube, on FPL, on everything. So that would be really cool if you can help support me. And likes are always massively appreciated on all my videos. So if you have got a couple of seconds free, just scroll down, click that like button. Yeah, that would be really awesome if you guys could do that for me as well. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Plenty more to come. See you later, mates. Bye bye.